So this is going to be test 8 review worksheet, kind of working through the problems. Okay, so we're doing the surface area of this figure. So remember, surface area is the area of the outside of the figure. So first, let's do the surface area of my cone. So the equation for a surface area of the cone is pi times radius times slant, so that's the area around the outside, plus the area of the base. But remember, when we're doing surface area, since my base sits on the inside, I don't care about that base. So I'm going to erase all of that because I don't want the base. I just want around the outside because that base is included on the inside. So my surface area for my cone is pi times my radius 10 times my slant, which is 26. So, oops. 26 times 10 is going to be 260 pi inches squared. Now I need to do my cylinder. So my cylinder equation is 2 pi radius times height plus 2, that's a 2. Oh my goodness. Pi r squared, okay? So this includes the area of the two bases. Well, I don't want the area of the top, I just want this bottom one that you can't see. So instead of having a 2 here for the two bases, I'm only going to have a 1 there, so one of the bases. So this is 2 pi times my radius 10 times my height of my object 40 plus pi times my radius again, so 10 squared. So we got 10 times 40, which is 400. 400 times 2, we got 800 pi, plus 10 squared is 100, so 100 pi. So we got 900 pi, but I want the total surface area, so I'm going to add these two together to get inches squared, because we're talking about surface area. Okay, if it says to the whole number, you multiply that times pi, and the whole number for that would be 3,644 inches squared. Okay, the surface area, so we're talking about surface area being 16.8. My radius is 3. What is the slant? So I want to know the slant. So whenever I'm giving you a value of like a surface area or volume, you're generally going to be setting it equal to that equation. So surface area of a cone is going to be the surface area equals pi times radius times your slant plus pi times r squared. Well, I give you the surface area, so 16.8 pi equals pi, and I also give you the radius. So every time I see an r, I'm going to put 3 in. And we're going to simplify. So I got 16.8 pi is equal to 3 pi times your slant plus 3 squared is 9 pi. So I need to get this slant by itself. So let's go ahead and get rid of the things not attached to it first. So we're going to subtract 9 pi. So 16.8 minus 9, we have 7.8 pi equals 3 pi times your slant. Let's go ahead and divide by 3 pi. So my pi's will cancel, so all I need is 7.8 divided by 3. So my slant is going to be 2.6, and we're going to label it inches because we're talking about a certain height. So this is similar except for doing lateral area of the cone being 155.25 pi, and my slant height is 13.5. I need my radius. So my lateral area equation for a cone is LA equals pi times radius times slant. So I give you the lateral area equals this times you want your radius, but I give you your slant. So let's go ahead and divide. I need to get rid of both of these. So let's just divide by 13.5 pi. Okay, so my pi's will cancel, so 155.25 divided by 13.5. So my radius is 11.5 meters. The volume, okay, so I'm going to find the volume of both separately and then add them together. So volume of a cone, we got V equals 1/3 times pi times your radius. Well, this is 9, so that means this is 9, so 9 squared times your inside height, so 12. So 9 squared we know is 81. So 81 times 12 we have 1/3 times pi times 972. 972 times 1/3. So the volume of that cone is 324 pi centimeters cubed. Now we need to do the cylinder. So V equals pi times your radius 9 squared times your height 15. So 81 times 15. We got 1,215 centimeters cubed. So the total, if I add them together, so 324 plus 1,215 is 1,539 pi centimeters cubed. If it asks for the whole number, you multiply that 1,539 times pi. So you'd get 4,834 centimeters cubed if it's asking for a whole number. Find the missing variable. So I give you the volume, I give you the height, I need my radius. Okay, so again, I'm giving you the volume, so you're most likely going to be setting it equal to the volume of a cone equation. So V equals 1/3 times pi times the radius squared times your inside height. So I'm giving you the volume, so 8 pi equals 1/3 times pi times your radius, which I don't know. All I know is it's represented by x squared times your inside height, which is 6. So let's take 6 times 1/3. So we get 2 pi. Divide both sides by 2 pi. My pi's cancel. So x squared equals 4. The opposite of squaring is square rooting. So x equals 2. So that would be my radius. Find the area of the highlighted arc. So we're going to find arc length. So the equation for that is arc measure divided by 360 times 2 pi r. So my arc measure, I want the arc measure that I actually care about, so the shaded region. So we're going to take 360 minus 40 to get 320. So 320 divided by 360 times 2 times pi times my radius of 3. So 320 divided by 360 gets me 0.89. 3 times 2 is 6. So if we multiply that times 6, we get 5.33 pi inches. Find the area of the shaded sector. Okay, so in this we're going to do the area of the sector. So A equals your arc measure that I care about, so 45 divided by 360 times pi times your radius squared. So 45 divided by 360, 0.125 times pi. 10 squared is 100. 100 times 0.125, I get 12.5 pi inches squared. Make sure you label it because we're talking about area. A motorcycle has tires with 20 inches diameter. A monster truck has 40 inches diameter. To the nearest inch, how many times does a monster truck travel in one revolution of the motorcycle? So it's revolving around the circle. So what I'm caring about, because it's rotating, is the circumference. So we're going to use the circumference equation for this. Okay, so if this is my diameter, then my radius is 10, and my radius for this is 20. So let's do the motorcycle and monster. So I'm trying to figure out how much more the monster truck rotates than the motorcycle. So we're doing circumference. So C equals 2 times pi times your radius for that one, and C equals 2 times pi times your radius for this one. Oops, that was supposed to be 20. So your circumference for this is 40 pi, your circumference for this is 20 pi. So I need to figure out how much more the monster truck goes, so I'm going to take 40 pi minus 20 pi, which is 20 pi. Okay, but it says round to the nearest inch, so I'm going to take 20 times pi, and I'm going to get 63 inches. So 63 inches is my answer. Area of the shaded region. Okay, so what I'm going to do is find the area of the whole thing and subtract the area of the circle out of it. So we have a rhombus here. So to find that, it's base times height. So the shaded so far is going to be 6 times 4, because you do base times height, so A equals 24 meters squared. Now we need to do the area of the circle, so we can subtract that unshaded region out. So A equals pi times my radius. Well, my diameter is 4, so my radius is 2. So my area of this is 4 pi. So now I subtract them, so 24 minus 4 pi meters squared is my answer. Find the surface area. So this is going to be similar to one we've already done. So we're going to do surface area of a cone, but we do not want to include the base. So my surface area equation for this is pi times the radius times your slant. So pi times your radius, you use the same radius as the bottom, so 6, times your slant, 7. So 42 pi millimeters squared is my cone. My cylinder, remember we can't have both bases. So when we do the cylinder, we have 2 pi times your radius, 6 times your height, 8, plus, don't put the 2 in because I don't want both bases, so pi times your radius again, so 6 squared. So 6 times 8 is 48, 48 times 2, we have 96 pi plus 36 pi. So 132 pi, so my total surface area is 174 pi millimeters squared. Okay, lateral area, surface area, and volume of your cone. So lateral area is pi times your radius times your slant, so pi times your radius, which is going to be 3 this time, times your slant of 10, so 30 pi feet squared. Your surface area is your lateral area, so that 30 pi, plus the area of your base. So we got pi times your radius squared, so 30 pi plus 9 pi, so 39 pi feet squared. My volume is going to be 1/3 times pi times your radius, so 3 squared times your inside height. I don't have my inside height. I know this is 10. This little portion here is 3, so we have to use Pythagorean theorem. So it's 3 squared plus b squared equals 10 squared. So 9 plus b squared equals 100. Subtract 9. B squared equals 91 square root. Both sides, the square root of 91. My inside height is 9.54. So instead of height being here, we're going to put 9.54. So this is 9. 3 squared is 9. So I'm going to take 1/3 times 9 times 9.54. So my volume is going to be 28.62 pi feet cubed. Okay, so lateral area of a cylinder is 2 pi times your radius of 3 times your height of 6. So 6 times 3 is 18. 18 times 2 is 36 pi feet squared. Your surface area is your lateral area plus the area of your two bases, so times 2 pi times your radius squared. So 2 pi r squared. So 9 times 2 is 18, so 36, oops, that was supposed to have a pi. 36 pi plus 18 pi. To get 54 pi feet squared. And then we do volume, which is pi times your radius squared times your height. So we got 9 times 6, so 54 pi feet cubed. Surface area and volume. So my surface area equation, we have 4 pi times your radius of 9 squared, so this is 81 times 4. So we have 324 pi meters squared. Volume equals 4/3 times pi times your radius of 9 cubed, so 9 to the third is 729. That times 4/3. We have V equals 972 pi meters cubed. The circumference, so of my volleyball, is 20 pi inches. about how many square inches of fabric are required to cover 20 balls. So I'm figuring out how many it requires to cover the entire ball, so the area of the ball, okay? So first off, let's kind of find, if I'm giving you circumference, you're going to have to set it equal to the circumference equation to find your radius. So 20 pi equals your circumference equation, so 2 pi times your radius. So divide both sides by 2 pi. My pi's cancel, so my radius is 10 inches. So to find the area of one ball, so surface area of a sphere is 4 pi times your radius that we just found, squared. So 100 times 4, so we got 400 pi for one ball. I want to find 20, so we're going to multiply that answer times 20. So we got 400 times 20. We have 8,000 pi to the nearest whole number. So let's multiply that times pi. So 25,132 inches squared. Okay, party hat company makes a regular and tall party hats. The area of the base of both hats, so we have the area being 20 centimeters. The volume of it is 200 centimeters cubed, and one hat is 2 centimeters taller. So if I have my party hats, okay, this is 2 centimeters taller. The area of the base is 20 centimeters squared, and my volume is 200 centimeters cubed. Well, if I look at the cone equation and I look at volume, I need a radius and a height. I can't find either of those. But if I look at the area equation, well, this is a circle, so let's look at the area of equation of a circle. That I can find radius. So A equals, pi r squared. I give you the area, so 20 equals pi r squared. So divide by pi. So I have 6.37 equals r squared, so square root that. So my radius for both of these, since they both have the same base, it says, is 2.52 centimeters. Okay, well now we're going to have to use this volume equation, okay, because I needed the radius and the height to get it. Okay, so I found the radius. Now I have to use my volume equation. So we have the volume of a cone. Well, if I have my volume here, so 200, I can set it equal to my volume equation for a cone. So my 1/3 pi r squared times my height. Okay, but I found my radius, this 2.52, so I'm going to go ahead and replace that with 2.52 squared times your height, so we can find the height for just one of the cones. So let's go ahead and solve this. So 2.52 squared is going to give me 6.35, and I'm going to multiply that times 1/3. So we have 200 equals 2.12 pi times h, so let's divide by 2.12 pi to get the height. So I'm going to erase all this other stuff here. So 200 divided by 2.12 pi, make sure you put it in parentheses, the 2.12 in pi, so my height is going to be 30.03 centimeters. So now I can find the volume for my tall party hat. Well, this is 2 centimeters taller, so I need to add 2 centimeters to that party hat to find the volume. So my volume equation, V equals 1/3 times pi times the same radius, times my new height, so 32.03. Okay, I'm going to erase all this so I have some space. So I have 2.52, that should be squared, times 32.03 times 1/3. So my volume is going to be 67.80 centimeters cubed. Oop, there's a pi in there. So 67.80 pi centimeters cubed. volume of the shaded solid. So I only want the shaded region, I don't want that inside. So I can find the volume of the whole thing and subtract that little portion out. So the volume of a cylinder is going to be V equals pi r squared times your inside height. So if I do the shaded region, so the entire thing, I'm going to get V equals pi, times your radius. Well, my diameter is 6, so my radius is going to be 3, times my height from top to bottom in my shaded is 5. So we have 9 times 5, so V equals 45 pi. Now I need to find the area of this unshaded, so I can take it out of my total shaded to get what I want left. So V equals pi times, well, this little 2 right here is pointing to your diameter. Well, if that 2 is all the way across, that means my radius is 1, times my height, which is the same as my other height, 5. Well, 1 squared is 1, so my volume for that little portion is 5 pi. So we need to subtract them to get the portion I want left, because I want to take that unshaded region out. So 45 pi minus 5 pi gets me 40 pi. And then we're going to label centimeters cubed, because we're still talking about volume.